Well, hello guys. My name is Soladio and I will present to you about strategic goals in business company. Strategic goals are goals created to identify intended accomplishment of business strategy. When companies create strategic goals, they directly identify what they see as the outcome of their business efforts. Strategic goals are most commonly created when a company is mounting a new strategy. For example, if a company adopts a new advertising campaign in an attempt to draw buyers to their products, they may also create a strategic goals or decide endpoint of their new advertising efforts. The strategic goal is the outcome that a company attempts to reach when crafting a strategic plan. A strategic plan is more detailed explanation of the steps that a company will take to reach set goals. Because the plan is an extension of a goal, the creation of a strategic plan often comes after the creation of the strategic goal, with companies first setting goals, then developing a plan as to how to meet them. In the world of work, goals and objectives seems to go hand in hand. However, there are some distinctions between the two. When a company leaders make a strategic goal, they are identifying a general endpoint that they want to reach based upon identified needs. A strategic objective, on the other hand, is more specific. While strategic goals can be either qualitative or quantitative, a strategic objective is almost always quantitative as it is by definition more specific. Generally, companies make goals prior to accomplishing objectives, making the objectives a more specific extension of the goal. And strategic goals have to be measurable, feasible, and time limited. Measurable goals means that you identify exactly what it is you will see, hear, and feel when you reach your goal. It means breaking your goal down into measurable elements. You will need concrete evidence. Feasible things are possible if you have enough time, money, or energy to do something. It's feasible. Something might be feasible at one time and then not feasible at another time. Then creating a goal must be feasible so all of the plan can become a realistic plan that we all know it can be happen if we have enough resources to accomplish them. And time limited. Set a reasonable time limit to achieve your goal. 1 week, 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years. Company need to consider different smaller time limited for smaller steps. It can bring the company to be have a vision when it has to be achieved. Without time target, company have no enough reason to do an effort for accomplish their goal. So time limit is have to be set. Now that we know what a strategy is, let's take a look at tactics. Tactics are how business happens. Tactics follow after you have defined your strategy. No businesses has all the resources necessary to operate optimally. This means that decisions will have to be made on what gets priority at any given time. This is where tactics come into play. They define how the business is going to prioritize different milestones in carrying out a specific strategy. Business tactics are micro strategies that take advantage of business situations as they develop. They are quick, actionable plans that support an organization's overall strategy. Unlike the strategy that is usually general, tactics are more detailed on the ways that the business will carry out the plan. This means that the specific actions that will be taken in implementing the strategy. You can employ several tactics involving a number of departments and individuals as a part of a common strategy. While both of these words in a broad way are used to mean the way things are done, there is a clear distinction between the two. In the business world, strategy is generally used to refer to bigger plans that will be used to reach a goal, while tactics are more detailed in telling how the plan is going to be implemented. The final aspect of strategic formulation is the development of a control framework. the set of managerial and organizational processes that keep the firm moving towards its strategic goals. For example, Disneyland Paris had a first-year attendance goal of 12 million visitors. When it became apparent that this goal would not be met, the firm increased its advertising to help boost attendance and temporarily closed one of its hotels to cut costs. Had attendance been running ahead of the goal, the firm might have decreased advertising and extended its operating hours. Each set of responses stems from the control framework established to keep the firm on course. Given the complexities of international strategic management, many international businesses, especially multinational companies, find it useful to develop strategies for three distinct levels within the organization. These levels of international strategy are corporate, business, and functional. Corporate strategy is hierarchically the highest strategic plan of the organization, which defines the corporate overall goals and direction and the way in which will be achieved within strategic management activities. It is a long-term, clearly defined vision of the direction of a company or organization. It helps determine the overall value of the organization, sets strategic goals, and motivates workers to achieve them. It sets out a basic plan for what is to be achieved and when. This is done by using strategic goals and basic milestones. However, corporate strategy is also a continuous process that must be able to respond appropriately to changing condition and surroundings the market situation. Corporate strategy must include and influence all aspects of the organization and its entire product portfolio. A company with a single business strategy relies on a single business, product, or service for all its revenue. The advantage of adhering to a single business strategy is sticking to your strengths. For example, suppose a bakery produces excellent cakes. By centering its marketing and production strategies on cakes, the bakery can perfect its performance, extracting the maximum amount of profit from its cake itself. On the other hand, a narrow focus can be a disadvantage. If the local market for cakes is small, the bakery can increase the size of its operation without branching out into other regions, which might be prohibitively expensive. Also, a single business strategy has a major inherent risk. At any time, some negative event could upend the entire business model. For example, if ingredients prices skyrocket for some reason, the bakery must raise prices or lose money. Relative diversification is the most popular distinction between the different types of diversification and is made with regard to how close the field of diversification is to the field of the existing business activities. Relative diversification occurs when a firm moves into a new industry that has important similarities with the firm's existing industry or business lines. Some firms that engage in relative diversification aim to develop and exploit a core competency to become more successful. A core competency is a skill set that is difficult for competitors to imitate, can be leveraged in different business, and contributes to the benefits enjoyed by customers within each business. Honda Motor Company provides a good example of leveraging a core competency through related diversification. Although Honda is best known for its cars and trucks, the company actually started out in the motorcycle business. Through competing in the business, Honda developed a unique ability to build small and reliable engines. When executives decided to diversify into the automobile industry, Honda was successful in part because it leveraged this ability within its new business. Honda also applied its engine building and both motor industries. And we go to unrelated diversification. Unrelated diversification is a form of diversification when the business adds new or unrelated product lines and penetrates new markets. For example, if the shoe producer enters the business of clothing manufacturing, in this case, there is no direct connection with the company's existing business. This diversification is classified as unrelated. The unrelated diversification is based on the concept that any business or company which can be acquired under favorable financial conditions and has the potential for high revenues is suitable for diversification. Sometimes the unrelated diversification is based on the available expertise and experience of the human resources that can be utilized in completely unrelated fields. For example, if the owner of trade company is competent in the field of computer design, they can open an internet store to sell goods and also expand activity by adding web page design services. Whereas corporate strategy deals with the overall organization, business strategy focuses on specific business, subsidiaries, or operating units within the firm. Business strategy seeks to answer the question, how should we compete in each market we have chosen to enter? Firms that pursue corporate strategies or of related diversification or unrelated diversification tend to bundle sets of businesses together into strategic business units, or we call SBUs. SBU. By focusing on the competitive environment of its business, business strategy helps the firm improve its distinctive competence for that business or unit. Once a firm selects a business strategy for an SBU, it typically uses that strategy in all geographical markets the SBU serves. The firm may develop a new, unique business strategy for each of its SBUs, or it may pursue the same business strategy for all of them. The three basic forms of business strategy are differentiation, overall cost leadership, and focus. Differentiation strategy is one of three Porter's generic strategy. Others are cost leadership and focus. Porter's strategy is quite well known in the marketing and strategic management circles. So, differentiation strategy is, as the name suggests, is the strategy that aims to distinguish a product or service from other similar product offered by the competitor in the market. It entails development of a product or service that is unique for the customers in terms of product design, features, brand image, quality, or customer service. When a firm pursues differentiation strategy, it attempts to become unique in the industry by offering those products and services which have value to the customers. In this strategy, the firm picks one or much such dimensions that are regarded as important by the customer's flock. In this way, the firm succeeds in creating unique image in the market and gets a premium price for its uniqueness. To successfully implement differentiation strategy, all a firm needs to do is a careful analysis of customer requirement and preferences to identify the feasibility of integrating various differentiating features into a unique product that contains desired products. On the successful implementation of the strategy, the firm can price the product higher than its competitors and receive customer loyalty, as the consumers may be accustomed to the unique features. Differentiation features may include product performance, ease of use, useful life, superior service, and etc. Cost leadership strategies is a method to reduce costs and produce the least expensive goods in the market or industry in an effort to gain market share. The modern business the modern business environment is a very complex and sophisticated one, with consumers being aware of the choices available to them. One way firms differentiate themselves is through competitive pricing. Businesses who have the least production costs are able to offer the same level of product quality compared to their competitor for much lower price. Consumers are uh, constantly looking to increase their purchasing power, and if that cannot be achieved through an income increment, then buying more at a lower price is the next best alternative. Businesses who seek to be cost leaders tap into this opportunity to offer the average consumer great product at great prices. A company like Payless is a good example of this strategy. They try to limit the number of employees in their shops and allow customers to serve themselves in an effort to cut operational costs. These cost-cutting measures allow them to offer brands that are of a certain quality at an affordable price. The slogan suggests that customers that can get the same quality goods at a lesser price than their competitors. Walmart is another example of this concept. They have made their operations so efficient and built such a large distribution network that they are able to get preferential pricing on goods and sell them to consumers for less than other uh, retailers. Companies that use focus strategies concentrate on particular niche markets, and by understanding the dynamics of that market and the unique needs of customers within it, develop uniquely low cost or well specified products for the market. Because they serve customers in their market uniquely well, they tend to build strong brand loyalty amongst their customers. This makes their particular market segment less attractive to competitors. As with broad market strategies, it is essential to decide whether you will pursue cost leadership or differentiation. Once you have selected a focus strategy as your main approach. Focus is not normally enough on its own, but whether you use cost focus or differentiation focus, the key to making a success of a generic focus strategy is to ensure that you are adding something extra as a result of serving only that market need. The something extra that you add can contribute to reducing costs, perhaps through your knowledge of specialist suppliers, or to increasing differentiation through your deep understanding of customers' needs. Functional strategies attempt to answer the question, how will we manage the functions of the finance, marketing, operations, human resources, and the research of development in ways consistent with our international corporate and business strategies? There are several functional areas of business which require strategic decision making. First is marketing strategy, which involves all the activities concerned with identification of customer needs and making efforts to satisfy those needs with the product and services they require in return for consideration. The second is financial strategy, which including raising capital, creating budgets, sources, and application of funds, investments to be made, assets to be acquired, working capital management, dividend payment, and calculating the net worth of the business and so forth. Human resource strategy covers how an organization works for the development of employees and provides them with the opportunities and working conditions so that they will contribute to the organization as well. A firm's production strategy focus on the overall manufacturing system, operational planning and control, logistic, and supply chain management. The research and development strategy focus on innovating and developing new products and improving the old one, so as to implement an effective strategy and lead the market. Functional level strategies focus on appointing specialists and combining activities within the functional area. Okay, that's it, guys. Thank you for your attention and good afternoon.